Hello, and welcome to Applied Nostalgia, a podcast that applies post-9/11 thought patterns and analyses onto pre-9/11 television. In other words, Cale and Evan talk about old TV shows. For updates, follow us on Twitter at SoWellRead, that's at SOWELLRED. So stick around for a few laughs, and you just might learn something along the way.
Well, do you have money? No. Money? Then I can't wait for that. God, look at my hat. I didn't Yeah, I could do with a better face.
Hello, I am Cale.
I'm Evan.
Today we watched Canadian sensation Ready or Not, episode 401, entitled First Day of Junior High from 1996. Can you give us a one-sentence synopsis of what the show's about?
Brown hair girl, not so hot. Blonde hair girl, very hot. Me start school at junior high.
Okay, that was close enough to one sentence. So the two girls that are the main characters in this show are Busy, who's the brunette and slightly less attractive one, and Amanda, who's the blonde and the more attractive one. They're trying to decide what they want to wear on the first day of school, and they're in Busy's room. And Amanda shaking her wrist, and she's got a bunch of bangle bracelets on, quote unquote is what they called it. I didn't know they were called bangles.
That's weird.
Because I ain't no...
I know about hey, but I didn't know anything about the bangle bracelets.
So Amanda's trying to figure out what she wants to wear. She's got the wrist full of bangle bracelets, and she can't commit. And she's talking about how she can't commit, and she goes, 2 just seems like I'm not even trying, but 6 seems like too many. And
2 to 6?
How
about 3? What's 3 mean, Amanda?
Like, if you were Amanda, how many bracelets would you wear on your first day of school?
Well, if I was Amanda, first of all, I'd wear 4. Second of all, I'd wear 2 on each wrist.
That seems like a solid plan.
Duh. Balance.
Yeah, you can't have one arm weighing more than the other one.
No.
Unless you're, like, really jacked on one arm, and then you can just, like, flex, and then the other arm's like, wow, I'm scared of you.
My arms hate each other, but that's because one of them gets a little more of my wiener.
You know, my arms hate each other since that giant arms race I had.
That's crazy.
Like, one developed nuclear warheads, and the other one didn't, and it went down one night when I was asleep. They had a pact of shared land rights over my dick. They both claimed mineral rights over my testicles.
Well, I mean, those pube peaks, ooh.
I'm glad you think they're beautiful, but I didn't ask you for your opinion.
Hey, my fingers have stood on those and overlooked the beauty of Cum Lake. Listen, it sounds bad, but
you got to see it for yourself, folks. I'll post pictures on their forum.
You know, Ansel Adams, he used to set up his camera on his, what's that thing called?
My knee?
Yes. And he would take pictures, and that's all.
They're artistic nudes, though.
Yeah, you can't even tell it's a penis.
More of a landscape than a nude, really. Because my dick is that big. It's just like, well, it's a peak in a valley in itself.
I think Ansel Adams himself referred to it as a manscape.
They are classy black and white photos, and I think you can see them at the Museum of Modern Art now.
Yep.
It might be in the Smithsonian. I'm not quite sure. They do. The critics have said that it displays American value, like a Rockwell painting, I mean.
Yeah, sustainable living, how we need to downsize. It really represents...
For some reason, my dick has a lot of old Chevys driving on it.
It's crazy, but, you know, don't judge it. At least they're American, right?
American made right here.
Mm.
While Amanda's dealing with her bangles, and Busy is busy razoring her jeans. She's trying to make cool, like, worn-in jeans, even though they were a new pair. Which, remember when that was a thing? When you didn't buy pre-worn jeans? It's crazy.
That's crazy. Well,
days.
I'm poor, so I've never worn a pair of jeans that weren't pre-worn.
Did you want to?
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
But can you believe
I was outraged.
people buy jeans that are pre-done, but they buy them from the store?
Hey, Mr. Calvin Klein, let me wear my pants.
That someone else already wore.
Yeah, let me wear their pants.
The two girls are just talking about how there was rezoning in their district in Canada, which I don't know how often that happens, but...
It doesn't happen. This show is fantasy.
So they were going to go to high school and then ended up being set into a new district, and they're going to go to Dorsey Junior High, which they've never been to, and they're going to be a bunch of new kids there. So I assume the first 3 seasons took place at this previous junior high, and they just wanted to reuse the same sets but keep them in a different order or something and have new cast members because they didn't want to pay people.
Wow.
But,
way to be cynical.
Yeah, well, that's just me. That's just my take. It's Canada for you. They don't respect people up there.
No, they don't.
The frigid cold makes them frigid in their personalities.
Ugh, you're telling me.
You know, I knew this guy from Canada once, and he slapped me in the face with his jean jacket.
Wait, were you at like a formal event?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I kissed-
What was it?
It was the snowflake dance.
Oh, I love the snowflake dance.
I touched his sister's hand, and even though I said sorry, he still hit me with his jean jacket.
Oh, you know what? He thought you were pandering to him. Because, you know, if you say sorry even slightly wrong, they can tell that you're from out of town. You know what they say? They say, he's from away.
Yeah, I think I was using a Nova Scotian accent as opposed to a Vancouver accent.
Well, it's very close. See, I have Canadian relatives, and there's a big difference between, to the untrained ear, between sorry and sorry.
It was kind of like the scene in Inglourious Bastards when the guy was supposed to hold up his thumb instead of his for doing the number, and then everyone gets killed. I don't know if you've seen that movie. I'm kind of a film buff.
Yeah, I haven't because I'm against violence.
Oh, really?
I did see it,
It's pretty good, right?
but I like to claim that I haven't seen it.
I claim that I didn't see it because I just want to watch it again and say it's my first
Oh
time.
my god. Self-deception leads to pleasure.
But so what you're saying is I should have just, instead of saying sorry wrong, I should have just like given him a flask of maple syrup and everything would have been cool.
Yeah, basically he would have been like, you know what? You're all right, Mr. Big America.
He even threatened to call the Mounties on me.
You're pretty lucky. I've known some Canadians. I've known some Mounties. The Mounties will make you ride their horse.
Jeez, that's a hell I don't want to live in.
It's crazy because you've not been trained.
So they're going to junior high still, even though they're clearly like 17, 18 years old. They're busy picking out their outfits, and then Frank comes in, who's Busy's brother, and he's mad that she's using the razor to mess with her jeans, and he's like, would you stop using my razor? And then she goes, oh, come on, Amanda's got more hair on her elbow than you do on your face.
That's not true.
No, Amanda's elbows are spotless.
One of the first things I noted was her elbow. And I gotta say, no hair, no fair.
A common complaint about elbows on women are that they're too pointy, but I think hers were just fine. So then Busy says, hey, Frank, you don't need to shave twice a day. And he goes, I got a 5 o'clock shadow. And he doesn't. He's probably like 16.
It looked like it was far past 5 o'clock at night.
Oh, it had to have been at least 8.
So, I mean, if he's anyone with real facial hair knows that once you're past 5, it gets assigned the label of whatever time it is in that day. God. And the thing is, if you really want to sound like a man, use military time. So it sounds like you got, I don't know, 1,800 hours shadow. And that's like, holy shit.
The brother was pissed at her for saying that, and he says, hey, you better watch out. Dorsey High has the Femiglettis going there. They hate our family because one time our bigger brother said that their other brother ran like a girl, and then since then the Femiglettis have had it out for them for some reason. So he got the crap beat out of him by a Femigletti. That's supposed to cause some drama that I didn't really care about and was in the show, but just really wasn't effectual at all.
I had no interest in that at all.
It was like a D story that culminated at the end of the episode with a hilarious prank, I guess. But
I didn't like it because it wasn't funny and because they used that stupid music cue every single time they talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, actually, I'm going to do a little something called a review. And I'm going to review that music cue, and I didn't like it because they played it a lot and it didn't change. and I'm going to give that music cue 2 fingers going sideways, and when I move my hand, they're going up.
Out of how many fingers?
Out of 5 fingers that go sideways, and then when I move my hand, the 5 fingers are up.
That's not a very good score.
Yeah, obviously.
So then they go to the first day of school, and Busy and Amanda come in, and Amanda's carrying a boombox, a full-size boombox.
What did she call it? It was a disc boy?
It was like a disc something 1000 or disc something 100, and she was all psyched about it, how they could listen to music. I don't know, even though it was the 90s.
Well, this was Canada.
Oh, so it was more like 87?
Yeah, that was a big fucking deal.
It was like, who brings a whole boombox to school if you're not like an inner city kid who's doing hip-hop for the first time in like 84?
I was confused. But then it's like, yeah, this is Canada. They got spectacles probably just 2 years before that.
Yeah.
They had eyeglasses introduced.
I heard they didn't have cars until 1970.
Yeah, the gas crisis. They were like, oh, we have no use for these, so they brought them up to Canada.
They bring a boombox to school, and first of all, there's no time in school to use a boombox. Like, maybe lunch, but the teachers would still be like, turn that off, because it would affect every other kid in the cafeteria. And also, it played CDs, and that seemed to be the main focus of it, because they called it like a CD something.
Disc boy?
Who had CDs at that point? Like, a girl in high school is not going to have a ton of CDs, because they were still pretty expensive.
Well, up in Canada, they would take vinyls and try to smash them into the CD. And that was happening a lot. The fucking CD repairmen, they were fucking loaded in the 90s.
When I was at that Snowflake dance, my date gave her DJ a broken version of the White Album so that we could dance to one of her favorite songs on it.
Oh.
But it just didn't play in the CD player, but she thought it would because she's Canadian. So
that's beautiful, though.
I pretended the weird squelching sounds were the song she liked.
Hey. It's the Beatles.
That's what I touched her hand.
Well, you know, what is it, Revolution number 9?
Yeah.
It sounds like a bunch of squelching noises.
Yeah.
Did you just say, oh, is this Revolution number 9?
And she was like, no, but it's still my favorite song.
And you're like, wow, it's my favorite song, too.
Then why didn't you know the title for it?
Listen, you're my favorite girl. Why you gotta be like this?
That sounds like what I did say.
That's what you told me.
I did write it in my journal that you stole from me a couple weeks ago.
Well, that and also
Did I mention this dance was a couple weeks ago? The Snowflake dance in Canada in September.
You didn't know what to say to girls, so I had a microphone and you had those headphones in.
Oh, it was a little Cyrano action?
And I was talking to you, and I was like, Evan's really cool. And you were like, I won't say that. And she was like, what's that? You won't say what? And you were like, oh, I love you. And she's like, aw.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it because, I didn't want to push things too far. Too soon.
But it happened.
You're Canadian, I'm American. We can never be together. It's a Romeo and Juliet story for the modern era, really.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, what? You're supposed to get your green card by marrying me. I'm supposed to get my syrup card from marrying you.
That syrup card, though, you gotta admit.
Good luck getting a job without one.
No, you're not going to.
Canadian immigration is the strictest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's fucking crazy.
They're even stricter than my dad.
Oh, yeah, right. Canada's not as bad as his dad.
No,
if any Canadians are
sorry.
listening,
that's slander right there.
Jesus Christ! You trying to get me kicked out of Canada?
I'm
not even in there.
They're that strict. They'll kick you out for not even being in there.
Preemptively kick me out.
After they bring their boombox in, and it's not cool even then, which ran on like 8D batteries, by the way. I had one pretty similar to that. That thing was inconvenient. If you kicked it wrong, the batteries are all going to fly out, and they're going to go all over the hallway of that school. They run into this weird practical joke kid whose name was...
Monkey Ears.
Hey, the name fits, because he had a little bit of a weird ear problem. But what's also funny is that he was in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, where it was called Jake and the Leprechaun or something, and he was in a play, and he started growing weird ears because he was eating this weird fairy stuff. So he had weird ears in that, too, so maybe that was just his thing. He's got weird ears, so people wrote him parts for weird ears.
Yeah, so I've never seen that episode, or I probably have, but I don't remember it. Did they, just tape his ears down, and then as he used the fairy dust, just, let the ears out?
No, they were kind of misshapen a little bit in the first place, but then they just kept adding Spockish kind of stuff on top.
Weird.
So it just got slightly pointier and longer as it went. Yeah, it was an okay episode.
Sounds,
He ended up not turning into whatever they were going to turn him into, though.
Good.
So then the girls are going to go to their new lockers, and this girl shows up and steals her locker and goes, "This is my neighborhood." And they think, uh-oh, this might be a Femigletti because the music cue comes on. So they run down to the other end of the hallway and get the locker she gave them. And this girl goes, "Hey, locks don't work here." When the girl was going to put her CD player
Put
in
her
there.
disc man in there.
Then it turns out the girl's name was Nina Pepperman.
Ugh.
She looked like she put a bottle of Tanqueray in her locker, even though locks don't work on the lockers. But she's just that much of a drunk that she'll just throw her liquor in there.
Well, I mean, wasn't it probably just pure syrup?
Yeah, probably.
That's what they drink up there, right?
Yeah, it was just tapped. And they used a Tanqueray bottle because it was cheaper than a new glass bottle.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Canadians are pretty resourceful.
It saves money.
It's like when they use those cars.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
It's crazy.
But yeah, the locks don't work in that part of the hallway for some reason, so it's like a weird Twilight Zone episode. It's just, the locks don't work here. I don't know why.
That's crazy.
And they apparently can't bring locks from home to use. They could just only use the ones provided to them that don't work.
Oh, in Canada, yeah, you're not allowed. There's no locks on doors, no locks on cars, because it's like in London, you're not allowed to have guns. In Canada, you can't have locks.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot like the English gun laws. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very hard thing to get them. I mean, you can get them on the underground, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But then you have to deal with those people, and they expect things for you from getting locks. Like, you ask one guy for a lock, and you're in for life.
Well, I knew one guy went up there. I says, "Hey, can I get a lock?" And he says, "Well, I want a lock too." I go, "I don't have a lock. I'm coming here to get a lock." And he says, "No, a lock of your hair." And I go, "No. What are you going to try to clone me?"
You going to make a voodoo doll of me?
And then a couple years later, yeah, the guy cloned me and made a voodoo doll of me.
But the voodoo doll only affected your clone, so it really wasn't a problem for you?
It wasn't a big deal. And then I was like, it was not a big deal. I don't care.
I mean, you got your lock out of it, right?
It's not me. It just looks like me.
But you got that lock, though, right?
Oh, I got the lock. Baby got the lock.
You put that on your bike, on your 10-speed?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
And someone stole it.
Well, yeah, but it still looked cool with that lock on it for like a couple days.
No,
right?
it was fucking cool. Well, I didn't lock the lock. I just wanted them to know the guy's got a lock.
You know what I went through to get this lock, right?
Well, that's what they knew. The lock told a story, and that's all I needed. Didn't really need the bike. I got the bike to put a lock on it.
I was actually hoping that lock would be the key to someone's heart.
Yes.
Let's see. So locks don't work there. Nina Pepperman, who I thought her name was Peppermint at first, but that's just my hearing issues.
Should have been.
I mean, Nina Peppermint is a way cooler name.
Oh, that's fucking cool. It's like 1960s baby boomer.
I thought it was like 60s trippy, like a little acid trip. Like her parents were crazy and they named her Peppermint.
They were like, oh my God.
Yo, you're such a Nina Peppermint, you know? You're smooth, but also got a bite to you. Hey.
I wish more people talked to their babies like that.
I know. I wish more people said their babies had bites to them. That's why I named my baby Barks.
But your baby does have a bite.
So yeah, Nina Pepperman was there. They go into their social studies class, and Mr. Clemmer, their social studies teacher, says, "No punching, no personal paraphernalia." And Amy kicks her boombox that she couldn't put in her locker back, and it lands next to Busy, but turns on. So it's playing like some really obscure, crappy band music that they made for the show.
Awesome music.
Oh, sorry, awesome music that they made for the show. And then the teacher goes, "No personal paraphernalia," and then he comes and grabs it from her, and that's the end of that segment.
I got confusings about this, okay? Because wouldn't a teacher like this be more comfortable in like a private school situation and not like a shitty rezoned middle school?
Yeah.
If personal paraphernalia wouldn't like having your own style count as personal paraphernalia?
Yeah, well, maybe he was from a Christian place but got kicked out.
I hope so.
They have to get in a 3-person group to work on some social studies project that they were just assigned on the first day of school.
That makes sense.
Busy and Amanda team up naturally because they're already best friends. And then Nina Pepperman sneaks in there. Mm-hmm. And the girl before who they thought was a Femigletti goes, Mr. Clemmer, I'm by myself. And then he goes, "Oh, you can be in a 4-person group." So she turns around and then joins Nina and Amanda and Busy. So it's a 4-person group.
And he said 3.
Later that night, they're at Busy's house, and they have expository dialogue outside their bathroom about their brother.
They do?
That's all I got written down here. So
I forgot because it wasn't very interesting.
Yeah, they were talking about the Femagletti's beating them up and how they were scared to go to school, and that was about it. There's really nothing in that scene. But then the next day they're at school, and they're in line for student IDs, and Nina gets called. She's in line first, and she gets her picture taken, and she's like, nailed it, or whatever she said. I don't know what she said.
I don't know.
Amanda goes up. Wait. Yeah, Amanda.
I don't think the order is important.
Oh, it's important. It's very important.
I think it's...
This show is built on act structure and characters and it being precise. It's like everything adds up to this one moment at the end that we'll get to.
You're right. It was like that Moses parting the Red Sea moment.
Nina gets her picture taken, and then Amanda goes up, messes up her picture by turning sideways, and then she's like, oh no, I messed it up, take another one. And the guy goes, no, it's fine. And then
in so many words.
And then Busy goes up, and she closes her eyes, and she goes, oh, it caught me with my eyes closed again. And then the last girl, who's the fourth one that was added to their group, who also may have been a Femagletti at this point.
Maybe.
Gets up and nails her picture. Like, she asked the girls if they wanted to go do something, and the girls were like, no, we got a dermatology appointment.
She's got a dermatology appointment, and
my mom's driving her.
My mom's driving her, so we've got to go.
They ditch that curl. I called her a curl, that's right.
That's all she is to me.
Then they end up going to Lakeview Lunch with Nina Pepperman instead to get burgers, quote unquote, even though there were no burgers on the table when we saw them there.
And shakes. And she said something about shakes, and were they drinking shakes?
Yeah, they had shakes on the table.
Whatever.
Actually, they were more malts, actually, because they were in like large... Well, shakes come in that too.
Shakes are malts.
I'm assuming it's more malty.
Shakes are
malts.
malts.
Are shakes, but shakes aren't malts.
Yeah.
A malt, you have to have malt in it.
This is a multitude of information that you're feeding into my ears.
Well, you know what they say about me.
Yes.
I'm a bit of a Maltese Falcon.
You really are. Very hawkish.
I'm very rare, and a lot of people are after me.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm distinctive.
Why do you think I always close your door and shut your windows?
I thought it was just because you wanted to be alone with me.
No, it's because, well, in a way, it's because I want to smell you. I want the smell of you so I can help people hunt you down someday if you double-cross me. Because I know people are after you, and I know it wouldn't be too hard to say, let's go get them.
So you're going to be like a bloodhound, and you're just going to come after me by like smelling my old underwear or socks and something?
Yes.
And you'll be like, I got this.
Why do you think I'm always licking your underwear and socks?
I thought you needed salt.
No, I got plenty of salt.
Got salt up the wazoo.
I got salt everywhere. I got a salt lick next to my bed. I get up in the middle of the night, I lick the salt.
You know, most people get up in the middle of the night and drink water because they're thirsty.
No, I'm bucking that trend.
You're so not thirsty. You have a plethora of water in you that you need the salt in your body.
I drink water before bed, and I lick it during, and it gives me sweet, salty dreams. I dream of the ocean nearly every night. But enough about my salt.
Didn't you tell me you dreamed about a pig surfing on bacon in the ocean?
Okay, I didn't want to talk about this, but yeah, I had a dream about pig surfing on bacon, and yeah, I had a crush on him, but it was just in the dream, and my therapist and I talked about it, and she says, I just wanted a ham sandwich, and I said, well, it was bacon, and she said, no, ham sandwich.
When you saw the pig, you were like, man, he's hanging 8.
I did. I don't know what came over me. He jumped over a bunch of clams, and then I was like, well, what do the clams mean? And my therapist said, ignore the clams. You're not ready to know what the clams are about. And I said, listen, shut your clam and tell me what the clams are about. And she says, okay, if you tell me to stop talking, then I can't tell you something. I said, I'm out of here.
I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist, and I'm not lying about that. I'm not. I didn't go to school for that.
I believe you.
But in my opinion, I think that the clams represent your clammy hands because you were so into that pig.
I never thought about that. See, some therapist I have, I come in here.
Hey, you come in here. Hey, there's plenty of underwear to lick, and there's plenty of dreams to be analyzed with me.
Plenty of nachos to chew.
Exactly. We ate nachos before this, by the way.
Individually, we had separate nachos, and then he gave me a few of his nachos.
Yeah, I shared mine because I'm a good guy and I made a whole tray and I am a disgusting person, but not that disgusting.
Thing is, when you buy a bunch of cheap food, you're liable to make more of it, and then you share it.
So they go to Lakeview Lunch to get burgers, and there's no burgers to be seen. So either they crushed them, and the camera was like just contemplating like letting us see that, and didn't want us to get disgusted by our main characters that they waited till they were done and the plates were taken away, or they just didn't get them and got shakes instead.
Well, also, this is Canada, and I don't think Canadians were allowed to eat on TV until, what was it, 2003?
It sounds about right.
It was like they couldn't have toilets in the Brady Bunch. So I think it was, like 2001, 2002, when they were allowed to show Canadians eating on TV.
I think if they did eat on TV, they actually put like a maple leaf over their mouth.
No, that's true. It was the first time they ever showed someone eating. It was on Degrassi, and it was a big deal. They advertised it for like 3 weeks, and yes, someone was going to eat some maple syrup, and it was a big ad agency for the biggest maple syrup in Canada.
Hey, if you're going to eat, you might as well eat syrup on the first thing.
No, I agree. It's the biggest export in Canada.
So that Nina Pepperman goes, you know what? I'm beyond coffee. I've had macchiato. Is that what she said?
She said, I've macchiato, cappuccino. Then she said, I've had mochaccino.
Mochaccino, that's what I'm looking for.
Mochaccino.
I'm beyond coffee because I've had mochaccino. And like, the other girls are like, wow, you're really cultured and adult. And the girl's like, hey, we should skip school tomorrow and go to the Japanese tea ceremony that's happening. And the girls were like, I don't know, skip school on the third day. Then she's like, we're going to learn more than we would in school.
She's got a point. Canadian school system's not great. But come on, go to school. You're already fucking in your 4th year of middle school.
Yeah, that said something about you.
Let's get out of middle school. Let's go to the tea ceremony after you get out of middle school.
Hey, you can drink tea any time of day.
Yeah, and let's do that any other time besides when you're getting your state education.
And she's beyond coffee, so tea shouldn't be a problem for her at other times of the day.
That's true. I mean, tea is 4 or 5 rungs under coffee.
So then they start talking shit about that other girl, who, by the way, we found out her name's Carla. They're saying, like, oh, I've got pores the size of dinner plates. And then the Carla girl walks into the restaurant and is upset about it.
To clear this up, people have feelings, and when people degrade other people, it hurts those feelings. I heard that somewhere. My therapist said something about that. She gave me a pamphlet called Feelings.
Sounds like a hack.
Feelings, we got 'em. Be proud. And I said, yeah, you know what? You got a point. Some people do have feelings. I don't. But anyways.
So yeah, she's got pores the size of dinner plates, and she gets really upset about that. Not only because of the things they said, but they also lied to her about not going to the dermatologist.
Do you think she would have been as mad if you walked in there and saw them and they hadn't been talking shit about her and they had just lied? Because the thing is, they could have been like, oh, we got out early.
Yeah, it's much more defensible because it could have been like, oh no, she's picking us up from here. Or, yeah, we got out early. Or the appointment got canceled, so we saw Nina Peppermint on the street and we decided to go get some burgers that we didn't eat.
Exactly.
Like, it's much more believable. But, lying and then going, hey, this other chick has pores the size of dinner plates here.
Yeah, you set a precedent with the thing you did after the first thing you did. And that is possible, to retroactively set a precedent.
Then they're in the bathroom at the school, just Busy and Amanda, and they're talking, blah, blah, blah. Amanda steps into the stall, and for some reason inside the stall was a photocopied picture of Busy. And it says, aren't my ripped jeans cool? With no question mark.
No question mark.
And then a word bubble out of her mouth that says, damn, I'm busy.
Damn, I'm busy. And I think the way I interpreted the aren't my jeans cool without the question mark was, aren't my jeans cool?
I was more thinking like, hey, aren't my jeans cool?
I was thinking in a way it was like, aren't my jeans cool?
I was thinking more like, ain't my jeans cool?
You know, that with a little more, ain't my jeans cool?
Ain't my ripped jeans cool?
Hey, aren't my ripped jeans pretty nifty there?
Are not my ripped jeans cool?
Spartacus, your ripped jeans are pretty cool.
I am ripped jeans.
Hi, I'm Rip Torn.
I make this look good. The big headshots are really affecting these girls, and they walk out into the hallway, and there's not just headshots of Busy, there's headshots of Amanda all over, too. So there's walls of the school covered in black and white headshots on different colored paper.
I
mean, you know, it's expensive to color
liked
print.
the different colored paper.
That was just to cover up the fact that they couldn't print it in color.
No,
they
it's
printed
true.
on colored paper, but we're black and white people here.
There were, yes.
They're Canadians. They're straightforward. They shoot from the hip.
They shoot from the lock. That's why people like it, because you go up there and it's like going to Australia.
You go up there, everything's backwards. Water spins backwards, Coriolis effect, it's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. Locks don't exist, and people don't steal.
So their headshots are all over the school, and for some reason that's a bad thing. Like, they grab them, and they're like, oh no, we gotta hide these from people. Who's doing this to us? It must be one of the Femiglettis.
They thought to themselves.
Then they walk into the lunchroom, and they can't find seats anywhere, even though there's a lot of seats available. The people just kind of give them stink eyes, and like they walk over to a seat, and the people like slide over. It's a really stressful situation But I mean, I never had that because I had my choice of where I could sit at lunch because I was so popular.
Yeah, every group, when I walk into the caf, people they put their hands in the air, and they go, sit here, and I go, listen, I'm going to sit with the kids that smell weird and have Super Nintendo games in their hands at lunch.
Yeah, I was like, cheerleaders, what's up? I'll sit with you guys today.
I saw you sitting with them. That was so cool how you ate all their food because they were afraid to chew in public. That was really nice of you.
Well, I was doing this thing called baby birding them, where I'd chew their food and then I'd go under the table and spit it into their hands so they could just like suck it up.
Oh, you know what? That was when the cheerleading coach told them that if they chew too much, that their jaws will get fat.
Yeah.
So they were afraid to eat. So yeah, that was really nice of you.
I mean, I do what I can.
Yeah.
They invited me to a lot of parties, so I did that there too.
Did
I
you
did it
ever-
with their alcohol. I drink their alcohol and then I just puke it back into their mouth.
And you could tell they were very slim, and they didn't get as drunk as they would have if they had drank the alcohol straight up.
No, I got pretty messed up. I almost died a couple times.
Hey, in the service of Her Majesty, the cheerleading team.
Like I said, you gotta do what you gotta do. You want to go to those parties, you gotta baby bird some
It's
chicks.
a beautiful thing. Reverse bulimia didn't exist until you started doing your baby birding technique.
I mean, I'm a trendsetter. I'm not gonna lie about that. You know, I just loved our school. I had so much school spirit.
So much school
If
spirit.
the cheerleaders aren't at the top of their game, the football players aren't at the top of their game.
And they never were.
And if they don't win, what does that mean for us? We're losers.
I know. Well, yeah. I couldn't go to a school where the football team wasn't good or amazing or at least really awesome.
Yeah, we just got barely competent.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I did a lot for those cheerleaders, but it did not help.
Well, our cheerleaders were so good that I think they just kind of got carried away in cheerleading, and they forgot what they were cheering for.
Yeah, they're kind of like the cheerleaders in The Replacements, starring Keanu Reeves. They were just, like, too sexy, and they distracted the players and things like that.
And you were there, too, because you kind of became a father figure for all of them. Mm-hmm. And one of them wasn't showing enough cleavage, and when their skirts weren't short enough, you told them immediately, before they went into school, I remember you lined them up, you had a ruler in your hand.
And I was like, come over here.
I liked the voice you used because it was fatherly. It sounded like you'd smoked a lot, but it also could have been you damaged your voice box from vomiting so much. It was probably a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I was just like, get over here.
But it gave
You ain't showing enough of them titties.
You had a lot of authority back then.
You ain't showing enough. You gotta show more. We can see your knees, but we can't see your thighs.
I loved it when you said that. That was like poetry, because then they would start shivering and shaking. And I remember one of them just took all of her clothes off at one point and said, is this good enough? Do I look good to you, Dad? And you were like, whoa, I'm not your dad. I'm just a friend.
And then I put the quote about the knees and the thighs on a T-shirt. I made them all wear those to the games.
Well, I remember you said, oh, maybe if I put it on your fucking clothes, you won't forget the basics of being a presentable female.
I mean, I threatened to carve it into their arms, but I was like, you'll try it on a T-shirt first, and then if it doesn't work, we'll go to the arms.
And I just got to say, everyone was relieved that they could read their shirts. I remember you, took those Polaroids of them every day, too.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I mean, I keep those in a photo book under my bed, but I mean, I'll bring them out at parties and show
And it's
people.
weird because you don't have a box spring. So
No, I dug a hole in it with a knife.
And before you did that, it was just an indent. I remember I'd lay down in your bed sometimes. It was like, how does he sleep here? But then I remembered you're probably that mound in the mattress probably just brought back memories constantly of when you were on top.
Yeah, it's a real Princess on the Pea situation.
Oh, yeah.
Like you came over and you're like, oh, what is this under my bed? And then it was my photo book of old Polaroids.
I don't know where I get off. It's your bed.
I
don't know.
You shouldn't have been on it in the first place.
Why am I calling it my bed? I don't know. I got my own issues.
But
I felt intimidated by the power and the prestige you had, so I had to go around saying things were mine.
I mean, I was at the top of my game. You just wanted a piece of the action. Even retrospectively, you want to get in on this, and hey, I'll let you, but you gotta teach these girls how to do things. That's all I gotta say. They're not gonna learn on their own.
No, women, they're not capable of learning without a strong male figure. And I'm not saying intrinsically, I'm just saying that's how things are right now. But I digress.
Me too. Busy and Amanda can't find their seats at lunch. And then Carla invites them over, and they're like, oh, thank God, we finally found seats. And then Carla's being all super passive-aggressive towards them. And like, oh, you know, somebody's doing this, and I don't know who it is. And they're like, oh, it's probably one of the Femiglettis. And then they see kids at the other table lifting up flyers on the same, like, paper, and they get scared, and it says Sons of something on it.
I think it said Stunts of, what's it, Squigum? What was it? It was
like Sons of Smegma is what we thought it said.
That's what it was, Sons of Smegma.
But I have a feeling that's not a thing that would get hung up in schools in Canada.
No.
I mean, they're pretty polite people up there. They're not going to do that.
But then again, maybe they were just trying to demystify dick cheese.
Who knows? I mean, it was lunchtime.
Good point.
Cuts to Amanda at her house. She's calling her dad on the phone, and she's saying, Dad, can I move in with you and transfer to this other school? This one's not good. And then the mom's like, hey, I need to use the phone and call this person. And then they have a little bit of a slight drama that didn't go anywhere. And then she gives her the phone.
That was, when I was watching that, I was thinking, what's happening? Conflict? But no conflict.
Just like Canada. No conflict.
No, well, it's not allowed.
They both just said, sorry, you both wanted the phone. We got to share. We're one family.
Amicable.
Sorry. So then it cuts to Busy's house, and she's sitting at the table, and her older brother is at the fridge, and he's like, oh, what, we don't got any food here, just salami? And then the dad comes out, and he's all like, kind of a jerk, and he's like, what are you blind? We got this other stuff.
We got kielbasa here.
Right behind the salami. She goes, oh, how'd you end up making the Femigattis mad? And he goes, I never made them mad. She goes, well, they beat you up. And he goes, I ain't never lost a fight.
He was pissed.
So they were like stereotypical Italian people. There's the Femiglattis and Busy Ramon.
You know, I didn't know Canadian people could also be Italian.
Yeah, Canadian Italians, huh?
That's a big deal for me. That's weird. I don't get it.
You know that they're famous for spaghetti and maple syrup balls.
Oh, so that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
I thought that was just something like McDonald's did, you know?
No, McDonald's is actually derived from Tim Hortons.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. The girls are saying that their reputations are ruined at school the next day. They're like, our reputations are ruined.
They said ruined?
Yeah, our reputations are ruined.
Our reputations are ruined.
I'm sorry, Busy, but our reputations are ruined. And then Amanda holds up one of her pictures, and it says Bangle Spangle on it, because she was dealing with the bangle bracelets that first day. They were like, our reputations are ruined. But they were just like attractive headshots of Amanda, like posted around the school. I don't see how that's going to hurt your reputation.
No, her headshot, she looked really fucking good.
And I mean, the Busy one wasn't that bad either. Like her eyes were closed, but I mean, she didn't look disgusting or anything.
She could just say it wasn't her. It's like, you can't see my eyes, and eyes are the window to the soul. And therefore, you cannot be sure if this photo is of me. That's what I would say.
It's very true. But I mean, can your reputation really be ruined? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
And I stand by that. You know what I said to my mom the first time I rode an airplane?
What?
Look, Ma, no lands.
Well, were you flying over the ocean?
No, I was just in air. Oh. In air. If you're in air, there's no lands. You're not on land.
But you're still overland.
Yeah, you're overland. Pete Overland. You know what? I'm over you.
I'm Justin Verlander.
Who's that now?
Played baseball. He's the one that was in banging Kate Upton in those pictures.
Oh, he's got a pretty nice physique.
Yeah,
I mean, for a guy.
For an athlete who's very hot, he's got an okay body.
I've heard athletes sometimes are known for their physiques, unless they're... But I thought baseball players were all mostly obese now.
Yeah, a lot of them are. It's kind of like our football team.
Yeah. Now, whose football team is that? The one you and I coach?
Yeah, our high school.
Yeah, because...
we didn't coach them. We just went to school and they were
No,
not the greatest.
the one we coach now,
our
the
Pee Wee
Children's
team?
League.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all morbidly obese because they're sponsored by a taco stand.
Are we going morbidly obese based purely on body mass index, or are we doing it based on looks? Because by looks, they're all very obese, but by body mass, I'm not sure if they all qualify.
You know what? I like the superficial way. I like to call them like I see them and how I feel them. And I felt a couple of those boys, not in a sexual way. And I felt them, and they felt disgusting. And so I'm saying they're obese, but they can throw a ball.
They all look like the kid from Bad Santa,
Yeah.
but in football jerseys.
Ain't that an image?
You know, I had to fire our assistant coach, actually, last week.
You what?
You know, we have a couple of assistant coaches, but he's the one that was the dad on Seventh Heaven.
You didn't fire him. You fired him?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, what's up?
He showed up late.
They smell like that perfume again, that Lisa Frank perfume?
No, he was just late.
Okay.
I couldn't deal with it. I just yeah, you're good with kids, I get it, but you're late. You got to show up on time.
He was great with those kids. Those hugs, those long hugs,
Yeah, they really empowered those kids to keep
those
going.
double hugs when he would hug two at a time. That he tried to fit that third one in there.
And he asked us to take pictures while he did it.
That was I'm glad he did that because I said, yeah, send me the pics. We'll put them up on the kids' Facebook page. He hasn't sent them to me. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. He's got,
He's got a lot of time now because I fired him. But
yeah. So if you're listening, buddy, upload those photos, please.
I think he might be going to therapy though now or something. I don't know.
Okay.
He's got some time. Maybe he's got to work through some things, but
Listen,
he's
cool.
definitely got to work on the showing up on time thing.
Yeah, was his biggest issue, and his tie sometimes wasn't tied right. I had an issue with that. I mean, I know we didn't wear ties, but if someone's working under me, wear a tie.
I mean, it's called a Windsor knot, not a loser knot.
No, seriously.
And would a tie clip kill you?
And just show up on time, hug the kids for good luck.
Just show up on time.
And just do some assistant coaching.
I mean, you're there to motivate. We're coming up with the plays. I'm the offensive coordinator as well. You're defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's got nothing on his plate. Oh, yeah, okay, special teams. Yeah, that's the joke that it is. But, yeah, just show up on time, man. That's all you got to do.
But I feel like we're just, cutting into him too much.
Hold on. Can I rate our assistant coach here?
Please do.
I'm going to rate assistant coach, the father from Seventh Heaven, right now.
Please do.
I'm going to give him 1 thumb down out
Okay.
of 2.
Okay.
The 1 thumb down is he showed up late a lot. The other one's like, he tried, he was there.
So
when he showed up, he was there.
Is the thumb up, the strong one?
No, it's not even up. It's just like half. It's just like, meh.
Okay.
It's like it's like I'm deciding whether to go up or down with it. It's just like right in the middle there.
So you got him on edge basically right now if he's listening.
He's got 1 thumb down, 1 thumb still making up its mind.
You heard that, right? If you're listening, you probably are. Listen to his thumb. Get your thumb out of your rear end.
And get back on that football field.
Get back on the field, buddy.
But not ours because we fired you.
Yeah, well, not ours. But
Find
do
another one.
football in general.
Do football a lot.
Do football.
They're talking about how their reputations are ruined, and they think it's the prank kid.
Monkey ears?
They think it's Monkey Ears, and he's doing his hilarious pranks. He's got like his fake vomit and silly string and all this stuff that's running through the episode because he's trying to sell it to people. He's like, hey, come on, I don't do this. I only deal with high-quality material. And
What is this, amateur event or something?
Yeah, he didn't say amateur hour. He said amateur something else.
He said amateur town.
Yeah, that was weird.
I don't know about doing a location to describe the inadequacy of someone's attempt at something, but whatever.
Well, we're not Canadian. Maybe there is a town called that.
Oh, that's true. It may be a real reference to a real town.
Maybe it's like Amateur Town, Saskatchewan, and we just don't know it.
Yeah, a town where the streetlights are somewhere in between red and green, and everyone's just like, what is that supposed to be? And it's just one big light. that, and it's just like this muddy color. And they're all like, why do I live in Amateur Town?
The lines on the street are just squiggly.
There's just squiggles. Did it as they went along, and the mailman's pissed every day. And he shoves he puts the mail in the trash cans and the trash in the mailboxes.
So it's not the prank kid. He doesn't deal with that kind of Amateur Town stuff. And then the teacher comes by and he goes, "No punching." And then they end up going to the social studies room, and they sit at their 4-person thing with Carla and Nina Pepperman, and they're like, "Who did this to us? I can't believe it." Carla sits down, and Nina grabs her binder. Carla's binder spills open with all the photocopies of Amanda and Busy on the floor. Like, they're just all over the place. So it's clearly Carla who did it. And then they have this big, tearful confession. She's like, "I did it. You made me feel bad." And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
We didn't do anything to you.
And then she goes, "Oh, yeah? Pours size of dinner plates? That ring any dinner bells?"
I liked how she stuck with the dinner theme.
Yeah,
on
she
that.
really had to hit it home.
She owned that dinner theme.
But yeah, so she had this tearful confession. She's like, "You really hurt me. You're wannabes. You're the ones that just want to be here and want to fit in and want to be Nina's friend and all this stuff." And they were just like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, I'm a human. Nice to meet you.
Carla runs out crying. And then it cuts to Amanda and Busy in Busy's bathroom, and they're at her house, and they're just like spraying things and doing stuff in the bathroom and spraying something in the toilet. Looks like shaving cream. And they're talking, and like Amanda feels a little bit bad. Busy doesn't. She doesn't care. She's just like, "Yeah, whatever. Carla's a piece of crap."
Amanda says, "Maybe she's right about us." And then Busy's like, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Maybe we are wannabes." And then Busy just sort of says nothing.
Yeah.
She doesn't really even respond. Like, she's not processing it.
And then her brother knocks on the door. He comes in to shave because he's got a hot date. Because, he's got his 5 o'clock shadow. He grabs his shaving cream, and he's like, "Oh, can's empty." So he throws it away, grabs a new can, and you know what? They replaced it with silly string from Monkey Ears.
Oh my God, Monkey Ear.
And I mean, that is some high-quality material he put in there.
He's all over this one.
Busy and Amanda run into her room, and they're like, "Hee hee 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 hee." And they shut the door, and they sit in front of it so that her brother can't come in and, like, bother them and catch them because they covered him in silly string for his date. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill you." And he's pounding on the door. And then they just, like, laugh. And they didn't learn any lessons. They just kind of sort of pretended to learn something.
They I had a problem with that. And then the fact that they had to put the brother behind a door because that was the other rule in Canada in the 90s. You weren't allowed to show someone who was angry or affected.
Well, if you show that, then they just, like, lose that polite thing.
Yeah, well,
You could only be angry behind closed doors.
Yeah, literally, in this case. And also, well, I mean, the idea is if you see someone who's angry, you learn how to be angry. But if you never see anyone angry, you have no idea how to be angry, so you just sort of stay at that neutral, even keel where you express it verbally, like, "I am angry," as we saw with all the other characters in this show.
If you only see people being nice or being sad, that's fine.
So that's fine.
But being angry, that's just not a thing.
That's how we create murderers.
And we all know Canada is famous for not having murders.
There's
never been a murder.
No. There's never been a traffic accident either.
Fun
except for in Amateur Town.
Yeah, well, they're amateurs.
But in Amateur Town, when a car accident happens, they don't know that it's a bad thing. And some of them, they'll gather and think it's a parade.
Actually, there was a serial killer in Amateur Town, but he was such an amateur that he actually didn't kill anybody.
I heard about that.
He just couldn't get it done.
Well, there is that other guy, that mass murder, who's planning that mass murder, but he just kept procrastinating and adding a new layer to it. Like, "Oh, it would be even better if I do this." But by the time he got done and got the plans finished, he died. So, no mass murder.
Yeah, he was like 97, and he had a 200-page manifesto, then another couple hundred pages of just names that he wanted to take out. And then, yeah, he just died.
He started coming up with alternative names for the people that he would put on their tombstones. It was crazy.
You know what's weird about that serial killer is he actually wanted to bury everybody and put tombstones up to tell where they were and who they were. I mean, say what you want to do. He's polite. He's Canadian.
No, that's the problem with their murderers. They have to plan the funeral right, and they have to call the family up and figure out the arrangements. and what, how they're going to pay for the funeral before they can murder someone.
You can take the man out of Canada, but you can't take the Canada out of the man.
No. It's like me in the forest. Take me out of the forest. Go ahead. Because the man's still going to be in the forest.
It's like me. Take me out of the forest, I'll eat for a day. Leave me in the forest, I'll eat for the lifetime.
I've heard that about you, and
Yeah.
I argued with him, and then when you said it yourself, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that thing he just said rings true. Rings like a dinner bell.
Rings like a dinner plate. Just like my pores and Carla's pores. But yeah, they didn't learn any lesson. They just kind of sat there being kind of mean people that only cared about what they wanted to care about. Then the credits rolled and they were just laughing at hurting their brother's chances on his date.
That was funny of them.
I mean, they're cool. They were happy about it, so they were fit in with Canada.
Yeah.
They were a shocking lack of jean jackets, though, in this. They had jeans, the ripped jeans, and they were cool. We all know that. Actually, did you know that the Canada Board of Health actually made them put ripped cool jeans on the paper just to promote jeans some more?
Really?
Yeah, they weren't selling enough denim at that point. It was a denim crisis
That's
of
interesting.
94.
Well,
Denim
yeah.
crisis of 96, I'm sorry.
Well, was that after? Well, that's because from the 80s, they were still known as, what the super rich, the top 1% were jeans.
Yeah.
And then, there was a surplus of denim. And then they were trying to show, yes, people like you can also wear jeans. And Jay Leno, he helped a lot too.
Yeah, he did.
He made denim American. And then Canadians were like, oh, he's dressed up like someone, like the groom at a wedding or a high-powered Canadian CEO. And it empowered them.
Jay Leno is dressed like my lawyer.
He's not as funny as your lawyer, though.
No, he's not. Your lawyer is really funny.
Your lawyer's funny. Leave my lawyer out of this.
Take my lawyer, please. I don't know. They didn't learn a lesson. It felt a little... Story arc was a little off on this.
But hey.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Kids will be kids.
Kids are kids.
And I assume the storyline got wrapped up throughout the season. They probably became friends with Carla at one point, and then Nina probably became an alcoholic because I teased that with the Tanqueray bottle of syrup.
Because she looks on the outside, she looks like the girl who has got it all figured out, straight C's, but at night she's straight D's.
You know what? Still going to college and working here.
No, she was. She always had her life together.
Oh, that's so crazy.
But when someone says, I'm over coffee, I'm over mochachinos, that's in a way a subtle hint at, well, what do you move on from coffee to? And you move on to alcohol. So I think we're probably correct about this.
Did you learn anything from the show?
Well, besides, I learned that the 90s in Canada was like the 50s in America.
Yeah, I learned just a ton of cool Canadian facts from their culture. We're American, we don't see Canada because it's so forward and out there. We finally got to experience what it was like to be in a Canadian junior high and got to see what it's like to eat at the Lakeview and how burgers don't exist in Canada, or we eat them really fast off camera, how the Femiglates might catch you. Like, I just learned a lot of fears and triumphs that Canadians live every day.
You know what I think we should do? Sometime in the future, we should go up to Canada and eat at the Lakeview lunch.
Oh, man. That's like my dream.
Get a burger.
Yeah.
Get a shake.
Yeah.
And chill out.
Yeah. And talk about some person's pores.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any final ratings for this? Would you watch it again?
Would rate it 2 fingers up my nose, and I'm blowing out like a whistle from my mouth, like a what, and then my other hand is doing a thumbs up, and I'd watch this again. I'm probably going to try to see the whole thing because, frankly, I felt captivated by it. I feel like a prisoner of warmth because there's a lot of warmth.
Well, Jeff, frankly, I'd give it a rating of just a good old American salute.
Oh.
Like I support the troops with. I gotta support our Canadian brothers.
Wonderful.
Ready or not,
Here I come.
we're done with this episode.
Bye.
This has been a So Well Read production.
So well read.